SCOTUS refuses to weigh in on another gun case. Anyone surprised? I'm not. Let's talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome back to John Crump News. So we got some news out of Illinois. Illinois recently passed an assault weapons ban that banned certain semi-automatic rifles such as the AR-15 and magazines holding more than 10 rounds. There was a bunch of different lawsuits filed to challenge the law, and it was all combined into one case, and that went up to the district level where the plaintiffs won, effectively pitting an injunction on the assault weapons ban. So the state didn't like that too much, so they applied for an emergency stay, and the circuit court put that emergency stay into place, basically saying that the preliminary injunction is on hold until the circuit court can hear it. At the same time, NAGR, the National Association for Gun Rights, sued in Naperville over a local law that basically mirrored the state law, and they lost. So they applied for an emergency writ to the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to enjoin the law until their appeal could be heard. Amy Coney Barrett oversees the 7th Circuit. Each justice gets a circuit to oversee, and the 7th Circuit falls under Amy Coney Barrett. Amy Coney Barrett asked the state to issue a reply to why there shouldn't be an injunction, and then a bunch of amicus briefs came in from a bunch of different groups on both sides of the argument. At the same time, the other case, which is going up to the circuit court, was awarded an emergency status, which means that it will be heard sooner than what is normal. This was seen by a lot of people as the circuit court trying to stay off intervention by the Supreme Court, and it worked. Amy Coney Barrett denied the injunction, which was not a surprise to a lot of people in the know. I figured that's the way it was going to happen. If you look at the CCIA thing in New York, when GOA went to the Supreme Court, it was denied, but Sotomayor sent it to the whole bench, and the whole bench decided not to get involved, but said that the circuit court needs to work fast or they would get involved, which is exactly why the circuit court out in the 7th decided to issue an emergency status to all the other cases challenging the law, in my opinion at least. So what does this mean for gun owners in Illinois? Unfortunately, they're going to have to live under this draconian unconstitutional law until the fall, where the circuit court can hear and decide on the case. Once the circuit court decides on the case, if it's for the plaintiffs, then they can issue an injunction. The state will most likely go back to the district level and ask for the injunction to be stayed until they can file a writ of certiorari with the Supreme Court and ask the Supreme Court to hear the case. If the district judge decides to issue that stay, then that will give the state time to file a writ of certiorari with the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court decides not to hear the case, then the injunction would go into effect. If the Supreme Court decides to hear the case, the stay on the injunction will stay in effect until the Supreme Court ruling, unless the Supreme Court steps in and stays the stay for the injunction. I know this gets kind of confusing. Now, if the plaintiffs go up to the circuit level and lose at the circuit level, they can file a writ of certiorari with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court can take it or not, but the law will be in effect because the state would have one on the circuit level. So just wanted to get you guys caught up with what's going on. I know it's not exactly a win that we wanted, but it was expected. All right, guys, that's it. Remember, we still have the Bella's Wish thing going on where it's an online toy drive. I'm linking down below in the description. If you want to buy something for a sick kid that's suffering from brain cancer or other forms of cancer, go ahead and do that down below. Today is DIPG Awareness Day. DIPG is what took my niece a couple years ago. So I would appreciate if you guys help out with that. Also, like, comment, subscribe if you like what I do here. If you don't like what I do here, I don't know what to tell you. But that is it. Stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keeping the fight. I'm out of here, Wolverines.